It's the Chugyard. That's not opening on its own. A story has got to keep moving forward. The board mainly has posts from those that used to work at the Chugyard back in the days gone. They don't make much sense these days. Not much more to say about the board, but Gizmo is holed up in the underyard here working on that Mekton of his. The Toxanol Corporation used to run chugger-chuggers out of here, big machines on rails with smokestacks that fouled the air. They can carry you anywhere you like. Well, anywhere that they go to, and then you can leg it from there. You're on the right track. Keep your eyes open. Tribes always scavenging for scrap, and the yard has plenty to go around. But they should have stuck to looting instead of playing around with sprockets. Wow, wow, wow! Sharp steel. Sharp. Bomper bonkers busy ram-banging the door. This is your chance. Down to half your health. Now that's a flesh wound. Hey, nice shot. The day can't come soon enough. Let's see. Yes, you can do anything. The sky's the limit. Now, let's take this back to Earth. Wow, you really took that all the way down to the end, in flames. It's a wonder some of these up and downs still work. Guess they built machines better in the past. The spent nuclear fuel that Toxanol dumped in the surf had detrimental effects on the marine habitats, while the overflowing landfills contaminated the groundwater. Combined, this sent their world hurtling on an inevitable road to ruin. I need to brush up on my Wando, but I have a feeling he believes it was you that caused the bang at the yard. Oh, and he says he knows you. You used to call him Gizmo. He gave you the oil-greased hands when he taught you how to upcycle. Gizmo remembers you as a nice kidling, and he can still sense the warmth of your good heart. But Gizmo says how you experience a memory can be different. You know the story, but sometimes the truth it brings is personal. He hopes you remember that one time he taught you to upcycle, and hopes you've had some use for it over the years. Gizmo says he also has re-memories from the long gone, but unlike you, he doesn't think of the past, for it's gone. He understands history made Loopalupin a big part of your past, your present, and soon, your future. You still believe there's some good in everyone. You still have hope for tomorrow. He says you should know that what's meant to be will always find a way, but history shouldn't consume you. Gizmo encourages that. You should forgive, but never forget. It'll provide some comfort to your soul and keep the memory of lost loved ones in your heart.
Run, Dark, run!
It's not a race.
You only say that because you're losing.
That doesn't mean I'm wrong.
No, there are lots of other reasons you're wrong.
Would like to know if you ever doubt the choices you made on the path that brought you to this point. Would you have been happier going in a different direction? Figures you're either a rare person or a good liar. Maybe both. Hard to believe the world is actually going to survive. Just seemed impossible till now. Grateful to you for coming back and doing your best to change things. You were the only chance they had. Wonders if you liked working with the Myriad. They always seemed so centered and so seeking. Thinks that's more than most are. It's hard to keep to a path like that. But that's not important now. Gizmo says it's taken a long time to bring the past up to the present, and where you go from here is up to you. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the underyard as he has no protection against the vacuum in the dead zone, so you need to salvage scrap to upcycle the Mekton, starting with the old crate outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the Mekton strong enough to fight the Jumbo Puff. That's what he decided to call it after he saw it for the first time. It's big and fluffy. That's accurate enough. If you can see past the blue color, that is. There's short of breath and death to this zone. Better take care. He who half breathes, half lives. Stories only survive if someone is listening, so pay attention. That's the leftover you're looking for. That's just awful. Watch your step around here. Don't look down. Too tight, and the rope tips. Feels lonely here. Even the air is gone. He says that's enough to get the Mekton functional. You'll have an engine, a fuel soaker, a gun, and a gathering net, but no armor. nor enough oxygen supply. He made a suction device so the Mekton can use the black tar as an instant refuel. You can also use it to clear oily goo puddles, so you can pass and access hard-to-get-to areas. He's been working on another project for the Mekton, a cannon, but it needs ammunition, and by that he means the scripts. He says if they're trained right, they'll turn into a distraction for the jumbo puff. The best way to find scripts is to go talk to Moog. He knows the ins and outs of every breathing thing left alive after the apocalypse. Unfortunately, this means you'll have to venture farther out into the dead zone than Moog's camp on the steep depot. Once you find Moog, he'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find scripts. Gizmo thinks he's a little peculiar, but very knowledgeable. He has the ins and outs of all monster and creature whereabouts. A real match. The Yerp Fields, where the echo of your actions resounds clearer than any other place you'll find, except for where that's not true. There it is, the Tree of Life, the idea that all life is related by common descent, where the twigs are existing species and those produced in the past represent the succession of the extinct. The tree's great branches were once budding twigs, a connection between the past, present, and future, a representation of all extinct and living species with its ever-branching and beautiful ramifications. We are an evolution of those that came before. Control your destiny, or someone else will. Old brick-bracks like that, sometimes still full of good things. Loopalupin's camp has always been there, hidden deep inside the mountains. Keep yourself at peace. A ping dish like that one was good for tracking aerojets and other flying machines. Stand against that. Right where it cuts. Bangarang. Just what you were looking for. Watch you flex. To get the ping dish to work, you need to line up the pong paddles for a proper match. That's a match. Now you can ping all the dishes you like. Spin that paddle to turn the ping dish properly. No pings there, only pongs. Pingety ping ping, you found a transmessage. It's better to go forward than just keep coming back. This area is blazing hot. You'd better have something that'll keep you cool if you're going in. A ping dish. Experts used to find things in the air with those. Wonder if it still works. The deep cut. The sun is coming up fast. See that rubber scrap? That'll add a bit of bounce for you. Might not need that now, but you will later. To get the ping dish to work, you need to line up the pong. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Looks like you ponged when you should have pinged. Fiddle with the pong paddles to match them up right. That's a match. Now you can ping all the dishes you like. Spin that paddle to turn the ping dish properly. No pings there, only pongs. Pingety ping ping, you found a transmessage. This one's BANGSHELTER 6L. Looks like it's still working the way it should. Check out that day. Not your size, but it'll work. You wear those well. You look civilized. Wow, you lucked out there. You found the KLUPPY dunes, where the sun rises every day and passing lines in the sand means a struggle between life and death. BANGSHELTER 11I, right where Toxanol carved it out. The desolation is stunning. Finding things both here and there. Carving it up. You're hurt bad. You look good in that. Might keep you dry at least. Now, walk the walk, Pants. strange not having the sky above. Heads up. Feels good on you? Good for protecting your privates. Might want to hold your breath before you head any further. You're about to witness the breathtaking vistas of what's known as the Dead Zone, the village of Blubbermud, which is maybe as many. Let's see. Don't blow air, you'll need it. That over there is Steepo Depot, the cliffside that Moog hangs on to. This one's impressed to see you out here. He figured you'd be dead by now. Not many are as tough and clever as you must be. Says a monster hunter hears many things on the wind. Moog says that all your power doesn't do you a bit of good if you're not willing to pull the trigger when the time comes. Choosing what to kill and what to spare are the most important decisions you'll make. You might have a steady aim, but you need to be sure that you pick your targets with care. It's hard to make those life or death decisions for others, but someone's got to do it. Otherwise, they'll do it themselves, and you know they'll miss. Claims he mostly kills whoever he doesn't like. Says it's wild that the world seems to be coming back, but he supposes that means more monsters for him to shoot. Wonders why you work so hard to keep things alive. Bullets help thin the herd instead. Says you should give up on working with the stubborn myriad. He keeps trying to put out their lights and they keep putting up new ones. Says they keep the monsters away. He needs them closer, not farther. But enough of that, right? He says the wildlife, nature, has changed and turned against us. Instincts of survival took over when the world changed. He's not sure about their veggie diet anymore, and if it's changed, who knows what it's done with the chemical composition of their body output. Right now, though, he feels he's come to a point where he's got a pretty clear idea on the whereabouts of monsters, both tall and short. Thinks that it all hangs on the tree of life. When it started to fail, everything changed. Moog says you must learn to walk before you can run. It takes practice before you can call yourself a monster hunter. Fortunately for you, he can help. He understands you need to start off with something small before you go big. There's no better place to start than a squip cave. Hunting down a couple of these little critters for yourself should keep you on your toes. Says it's not far at all. Fortunately for you, the squips seem to have acclimatized themselves to the otherwise uninhabitable dead zone. Should be able to see farther soon. Wait, it's the squip hole-up. Place is just filled with critters. See what this thing can do. You might never want to leave the Mekton behind. Crack-a-doo. Flash the slash. History is nothing but a series of stories. Once the volatilization from the nuclear waste evaporated, a volatile gas rose through the soil and infested structures, even Toxanol's own buildings. So, in a way, they caused their own death. Oh, idea. Go knock the lid off that sludge truck. It'll fill the place up and you can get up to that entrance there. What a critter. The sun is high. Better than nothing. Looks like the switches need to be turned to match so enough charge can flow through the conductor. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Imagine being stuck in the woods forever time. He says that's enough scripts to sustain the Mekton's claw crane cannon with infinite ammunition. Well done. It's not his cleanest invention so far, but it gets the job done. Use it to suck up gooey oil puddles in the Mekton's way so you can pass. Gizmo's made vehicles before to confront the Jumbo Puff himself, but failed. But this time, it's different. The Mekton will be strong enough to do the job. It's time to put a stop to the World Eater now, otherwise he fears the damage it's caused to the tree already will be too much to handle. He asks you to not even think about taking on the Jumbo Puff on foot. You'll need the Mekton to do the job, take his word for it. There's time to improve the Mekton before you confront the Puff. There are more wreck boxes out in the dead zone with gear you should be able to equip the Mekton with on your own. He's sure you remember enough of what he taught you about upcycling to fit some skronky gear to the Mekton on your own. Gizmo wants to help if he can. Says you should take it easy. Let's see. It's a place well hidden. It's just below the above. Out of Date's impressed you made it this far, but there's still so much left to do. The end of the world is still on everyone's minds. You've beaten a path where you have the power to destroy or save everyone. Question is, what you'll do with that responsibility.
Fabobe, mok kofar, mokbu far kobi.
He can sense that your heart beats steadily and acknowledges that the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Yevofo lolan ofo.
Thinks it's important that you remember who you are and where you came from. Someone without knowledge of their history and origin is like a tree without roots.
Loma toaha, ye mufurbo, bum.
It's important to stay grounded. You share the same fate as the tree.
Wumbobo duboko, daimis.
Out of Date says there's a time for everything. And now there's no use thinking of the past, for it's gone.
Loma utulu, ba yowo.
Think of the present, because that's where you are. It's time to set your priorities as the one who completes things.
Come weepa.
If you continue to do good, good will follow you.
Farfarifyo, tuka kubu. Loma utulu, ba yowo.
If the world really does end, there won't be anywhere to run. So he's prepared for the worst, something he calls the Ark.
Koyetu kowebo. Loma utulu, ba yowo.
He hopes you're right. He gets that you mean the journey continues either way, but personally he wants the tree to survive.
Hi kobe. Ifari kobo far.
Out of Date says there's no clear record of the chain of events that changed the course of history and brought the world to its knees.
Kim hobe bekuko hifar muk.
He's found evidence on the Ark, records of a crisis, decades of contamination that permeated the ground and broke its inner core.
Tolowoya lo yalo batoloyo.
The contamination disrupted what we now know as Ki energy, the life force that runs through all things, living and inanimate.
Oloi bobo paweg lotulu bayo.
He's been told the blight affected everything at a genetic level and turned our perception of normality on its head.
Ayamu waya lotulu bayo.
It was only those that changed that avoided extinction, proving that the possibility for survival and renewal was real.
Mauketo tul atto iamanao.
He understands you are curious about the ship at the foot of the tree. He says it surfaced when the oil broke through the ground.
The water.
The Ark predates the back-in days, and now, after years of study of the manuals he found inside, he believes he's figured the ship out.
Maotoliawaho.
The Ark has room for 4 more, and he trusts you'll apply wisdom to your compassion and choose whom to save if the world comes to end.
Kuzata geto the water koyevun tuvun bunun.
He'll keep the seats open, and you are free to invite up to 4 others to join you in the Ark in the event of a cataclysm.
Koyevun tuvun bunun iatu yao mawa.
Out of Date says that from what he's heard, you've been busy.
Vunko vunturubo.
He says he appreciates what you've done so far, but unfortunately he's got urgent news from his friend Goop in the southeast.
Tamuk gabamuk tab weta gono.
Out of Date says that even though he's unsure about your intentions, he hopes you'll support Goop.
Tolidrea ya maoloa. Tamuk gabamuk tab.
He says he'll point you in the right direction, but finding Goop and making sure he gets what he needs is up to you. That's the sound of impending doom. Out of Date's premonitions of imminent disaster are true. The porcupine needs to be handled.
Gabobe farhi.
Out of Date says that Goop is worried now that the Southeast World Eater is stepping up its activity.
Tuloya. Vuto lula. Miami.
He explains that Goop is working on a goo-gliding vessel in order to get to the World Eater, but needs help to get it done.
Kutuvun poputue iboda kilmok.
Out of Date suggests that you should head southeast as fast as possible and see what you can do to help.
Setuatan pop kila.
He wonders what's on your mind.
Yalawa wat nawa.
Seems surprised you have to go. The air is thick with wet stuff. Half-lifed. Tap hard. Something has to be able to open this lock. That there's Subnautica Station. Goop flounders around in there. The world is waking up with dawn.
Yangu. Ajitawa. Daiki.
Gulpo ain't the easiest tongue, but I think he says he's happy to see a friendly face. Not too many of those around these days. Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He knows he's easy to remember. There's no one out there as cuckoo as him. He's one of a kind. Goop says our memory keeps things for us and protects them until we are ready to face them again. He understands you've returned to face Lupa-Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He thinks that's the right thing to do. It's only when you have forgiven that you'll find peace.
That's so bright!
Seriously, you like the shine?
You just don't want anyone to get a good look at you.
Dark is stylish?
Lie to yourself all you like, darling.
Says life on the goo is wide open. You have so many choices of where to go. Some harder than others, of course. Which kind do you like? Best to stick close to the shore then, where the goo isn't so deep. That's like being close to your friends who can help when things go wrong. Can hardly believe the world is going to make it. Wonders what that's going to do to the goo. Thanks you for doing everything you could to de-goop the surf. Thinks the Myriad made a good match with you. You're both like sunshine on the surf. Claims he didn't say that out loud. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the Subnautica station, as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit, so you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. Out of Date told him the undersurf was the epicenter of the contamination. This was where it struck hardest and inflicted the biggest change to the ecosystem. The light's coming back. Keep your eyes on the end. Just a few moves left. Make them count. The deep cut. Oh, that's rare. Sharp steel. Got what he deserved. Disgusting. Biohazard. Just gross. You're not dead yet. Gee! Boom, boom. Flash the slash. This day is as good as it's going to get. Toxanol's offshore drilling caused oily matter to spread with the rain and contaminate both the groundwater and open surf. The long-lasting effect this had on the evolution of wildlife was, as we know now, the only reason we came to exist. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Let's see.
Mukamba. Saluya. Kawaii yatu puwila kandwale.
He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There are lots of valuables left behind on the surf floor that the salvage net will enable you to haul. You just need to find the right spots. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks, squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surf archipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. He only knows what's visible to the naked eye. Gulp is not much of a babbler and mostly keeps to himself and his drink. Feel that what breeze blast by. You're poking around Pockbur, a prime village. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Points out that he's hungry too, but always thirsty for more. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. You'd be doing him a liquid solid. You're a do-gooder, so you know you want to. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, that's the point. But you can't stop trying new ones, or life gets dull. Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you always try to help, no matter that the world's fate is hard to swallow. Sees why you joined up with the Myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own.
Har det upp
But who cares about them?
duramena geijasaka vangilupa lengut.
Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all.
Duramena geijasaka vangilupa lengut.
Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportioned to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp.
Heilingeri kikauteri.
The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. Says that's what gives your internals such a great glow. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching Pippi's flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. Says he read that in an old world book. It means you're an expert of all living things that flap and tweet. Let's see. Treasure this part of the land while you can. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. Down is easy, up is the hard bit. This is all about you. Whether you succeed or fail, it's on. That's more than stuck. Now that's a flesh wound. You always find good use for things like that. Nothing spews bullets like this one. Whoa, smell that? Biohazard nearby. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Beats swimming. This thing spits goo faster than it swallows it. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal.
Goddamn
After that, Out of Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. That's how he got tasked with rebuilding the Googlide. He seems happy to talk. Understands you have other places you need to go.